down, tune your hearts into this station right here. And we have closed captioning online for people. If you're trying to hear it, they have a little clue here. If you're listening to us on Facebook or YouTube, you can click on the icon for closed captioning, and that will help you having any trouble with our hearing our service. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Jean Corbin to lead us.
Morning. Good morning. We slept the whole night through. Good morning. I'm in a goofy mood. I trust everyone had a good week. Yeah, good. Me too. No bodies at the house besides my wife and her mom and I, because the kids are scattered. Her kids, my kids are scattered all over the United States. So we had Facebook things going on like crazy. And it was fun. Okay. And what was I going to do first? It changes almost every time I walk through the doors. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Oh, thank you so much, Jean, for being our musical inspiration today. Welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Kamatara, and I am so grateful for each one of you joining us today, whether you're online, hello, beautiful people, or you are in the building. We're just grateful to be together because together we are transforming the world with the power of love in action. And we're grateful for all of our volunteers. Today we've got our awesome tech team with Mike Hacker, and we've got Hannah, and we've got our greeters. We've got Doug over there, and we've got Carmela in the back greeting people, and we've got folks on the high watch like Teresa Greco. We've got our food angels like Carol Ann is on the job, amazing for so many years. And then we've got our other beautiful Carol Helms, who's going to be tag teaming today. We also, because it's the weekend of Thanksgiving, we have a lot of people traveling right now. So we're just going to send love out to all the folks who are traveling or seeing family, and to Reverend Gill, who's with his family. So we're just sending love out to everyone, wherever you may be. All right. So we are going to take a moment now for our invocation to get grounded and ready for this sacred experience together.
Let's take just a moment to go to the core of our being, that pure, untouched point of origin of each of us. Individually and collectively, we are the core of that which created everything and everyone. And for that, I'm so grateful. spending time at core of our being where the knowing is, where the knowing God lives, breathes, where God wakes up in the morning and says, let's walk, let's talk, let's spend the day together. And my day says, A-okay with that. So grateful for the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living and for all the hands and hearts that it takes to make a service happen here, to keep the doors open. I love the beautiful Ernest Holmes quote, our doors will forever be open to all. And when they let me in, I knew it was the truth. How exciting is that? Thank you for all the volunteers. Thank you for all the prayers. Thank you for all that your vibration brings to this service this morning. So put on your seatbelts, sit back, and enjoy a beautiful ride with the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living this morning. And so it is.
Thank you, Carol, for that beautiful prayer. So here at the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, we are anchored in the principles of science of mind, new thought, or we like to call it ageless wisdom. And we do talk about 4 key concepts here, although you're very welcome to go to rgcsl.org and click on the We Believes, and you'll see, Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of religious science. He tried to put together some core ideas that are really wonderful. But if we had to pick a few to focus on here, we believe that there is only one power in the universe, and that is known by many names and experienced in many ways. We believe that thought is creative, so we take care of what is going on in our minds and keep going back to the spiritual truth that there is only one power, one presence as expressing as each one of us individually here. And we believe that everything in our life is either an expression of love or a call for love. Thank you to our friends in A Course in Miracles. That is just a really important experience, belief, really good home base. And we believe that each of us is whole, complete, and perfect exactly as we are. There may be some things that we want to let go of or things that we may need to understand more deeply or do more skillfully, of course. But there's nothing that needs to be added. We are already expressions of the divine. How could the divine be anything more? It's all in there. All right. So with that, we're grateful that you have chosen to be part of our service today. And whether you're in line or in person, this is very special because this is a gathering like we've never had before with this combination of beautiful souls in this room. And we're co-creating this experience together. I also want to acknowledge if any of you are here for your first or second time, if you feel so bold and you might raise your hand. Are you here for the first time? Any first timers? Oh, we're very glad to have you here. And we have a special little welcome present for you. And if you're here for the second time, thanks for coming back. I just want to acknowledge it takes a lot of courage to go someplace new and to walk through the door and to say hello. And then I think it takes extra courage to show up a second time. So just acknowledging and blessing that. We have a special blessing. And for all the people who are coming back for the 74th time or the 1157th time, here's our beautiful blessing that I think is for all of us. We see you. Go ahead and say that. We see you. We know who you really are. You are a unique emanation of spirit. Unique emanation of spirit. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank God for you. Welcome home. Thank you. So now I'm going to ask Carol to lead us in our vision and mission and a sacred reading.
Too thin, huh? I bet you can come up with anything over there. Okay, join us if we can with our vision and mission statement. Our vision, transforming our world with the power of love in action. mission, loving all creation through spiritual growth and service, always staying true to our highest selves. Oh, a reading.
Always have a reading. I always have something up my sleeve. Yeah. All right. So this is one of my favorite poems from Hafiz. You've heard it before, and oh, it's so good. It says, "Now is the time to know that all you do is sacred. Now, why not consider a lasting truce with yourself and God? Now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels to be laid aside when you finally live with veracity and love. You are a divine envoy whom the beloved has written a holy message upon. My dear, please tell me, why do you still throw sticks at your heart and God? What is it in that sweet voice inside that incites you to fear? Now is the time for the world to know that every thought and action is sacred. This is the time for you to compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the time to know that everything you do is sacred." Well, now we have some special music from our wonderful and talented friend, Jean.
Who? I continue to find beautiful songs and strange songs to bring here for you all and me. There was a friend of mine talking to another friend of mine, and he was just going on and on about his woes and everything that he just had hanging on him. And the other person looked at him and said, "You know, that's all been taken care of." The guy stopped dead in his tracks and he said, "It has, hasn't it?" Yeah. Well, the moon is broken and the sky is cracked. Come on up to the house. The only things that you can see are all that you lack. You got to come on up to the house. Come down off your cross, we can use the wood. Come on up to the house. And all your crying won't do you no good. You got to come on up to the house. You got to come on up to the house. Come on up to the house. The world is not my home. I'm just passing through. You got to come on up to the house. Does life seem nasty, brutish, and short? Come on up to the house. And your seas are all stormy and you can't find a port. You got to come on up to the house. Come on up to the house. Come on up to the house. The world is not my home. I'm just passing through. You got to come on up to the house. There's nothing in the world that you can do. Come on up to the house. You've been whipped by the forces that are inside of you. You got to come on up to the house. Sunday mornings, come on up to the house. You got to come on up to the house. The world is not my home. I'm just passing through. You got to come on up to the house. Well, you're standing high on your mountain of woe. Come on up to the house. And you know you should surrender, but you can't let go. Come on up to the house. You got to come on up to the house. Come on up to the house. The world is not my home, I'm just passing through. You got to come on up to the house. You got to come on up to the house. You got to come on up to the house. The world is not my home, I'm just passing through. You got to come on up to the house. To the house. Welcome to the house.
Thank you, Jean. I get to introduce Kamatara, but you all know her. We all know her, and I'm always excited when she's speaking and bringing her heart and soul to this center. And by the way, she leaves little pieces of it in case you need it during the week. Drop on through. Kamatara, you bless us all. So come do your thing.
Woo. Well, good morning, everyone. Oh, we can do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you. I swear there's a whole bunch of people in this room. Okay, here we go. So, and thank you, Jean, for that perfect song. Truly, that was so much fun. You had me. That was fantastic because the theme this month is about home. And I know that there's a really big difference between having a house and having a home. And I want to take a moment to just acknowledge that, yes, having a home is such a beautiful and important concept, but there also is kind of an ugly underbelly, kind of a shadow side of the stuff that sometimes goes down in our home that might be really awful. And so I just want to take a moment to honor that a lot of us, myself included, may have experienced quite a lot of trauma, especially in our childhood home. And I know that that's a healing process that may take us this life and the next. And I just want to honor that that could make the word home really charged. I really, really feel that intimately. I also understand that not everyone has a home, that we have people that are literally homeless. And so just appreciating the shelter that we do have is really profound, even if that house isn't a home, that even just having shelter is really important. And then for the folks who may or may not have found a spiritual home, that's really important too. And I hope that maybe you're starting, or maybe you already have had that experience here. I know for me, Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living is my spiritual home. And when I graduated from ministerial school in the summer of 2021, can't believe it's been a while now, I thought, well, gosh, am I supposed to fly the coop? Should I go to some other places? Like, where should I be? Like, where do I fit? It's like a natural question to ask. And so I started dating other churches, as one is wont to do. And I really thought, well, maybe I'm going to be over here, or over there. And part of that was wonderful because it birthed my part-time ministry, because I am a substitute minister at different spiritual communities throughout Albuquerque and in Las Cruces, and ministers need help. So that's a huge blessing. I'm so grateful that I can do that. And I get to meet all different people, all different congregations. And every church you go into has a different vibration, a different flair. It's so different. So it's fascinating. It's interesting. It's great. And when I'm there, as much as I love them, I miss here. And maybe that's the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder. But it really highlighted for me that this is my home base. And this is where I get to be myself in all my messy goodness. Lord knows y'all have seen me through anything you could imagine and then some. And, the good, the bad, the ugly. I have cried on quite a few of you, like ugly, snotty tear crying, like sweet hugs and kisses, happy, sad, like the whole range of human experience. And it's okay. And I get to be my little Tigger self because I'm like a happy little puppy dog. Because I'm like, people! And I get so excited and I maul you with affection. You're like, oh God, here she is. And that's okay too. And then some days I'm not. Like, thank you that I get to fully be myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, all right here. Because for me, that's what home is about. Like, here's this home base, the safe place to be, the soft place to land in good times and in bad, that we can be real with each other. And that's okay. I love that about here. So I do want to say thank you, because y'all are that for me. And I pray. See, it's just not a meeting unless Kamatara cries. All right. Sorry, I'm a crier. I really hope that y'all could have that experience here too. And that if I know it takes a lot of courage or like an opening of your heart to come home to a spiritual place. But that's my prayer for all y'all, that you could have a beautiful home out in the world and a beautiful home here. So I just want to acknowledge that. So the topic for today in specific is to look at the end of the hero's journey. So last week we were journeying with Tammy because what if it all turns out okay, right? I loved that theme. And at the end of the hero's journey is that fabulous step called return home, to come back to your home base. And what I love about that concept is that it doesn't have to be a physical home base, although it could be, but really that return home at the end of the hero's journey is to return home to yourself, which is the ultimate spiritual journey. It's why we're here doing this work in the spiritual community together to find the deepened expressions of ourselves. And so when I was an English teacher for a couple decades, and my essential question for my students and myself is always, are you the hero of your own journey? And that might be something really interesting to contemplate this week for wherever you happen to be in your life in this moment. Are you the hero of your own journey? And of course, we would use the hero's journey as the framework for everything that we did throughout class. And, we would look at other people's stories, and then we would look at our own stories, because in my opinion, English class is life class. And even before I got into Science of Mind, I know that it is, because the stories we tell, the way we frame what's going on, our language creates our experience. And so what was wonderful when I was working with youth is to try to reframe. Are you the hero of your own journey? Are you the protagonist? Are you taking command of your life? What do you want? Where do you want to go? What is this about? What's going on here? And all the stories I might be telling about myself, like, I'm no good, I'm dumb, I can't do it, I'm no good at English, I'm no good at math, I'm no good at insert phrase here. Is that the truth of your being, really? Is it? So there's some really wonderful things when we can dig into the hero's journey. And on the off chance that you haven't really looked at the hero's journey since your, old crazy English teacher took you through it, just going to dust through it here with the hero's journey. The way that it really came out for a lot of people to know was through Joseph Campbell, who was a comparative mythologist. So he looked at all different myths throughout cultures, time, place, just all over. And he kind of went, wow, it's the same story. Look at that. That's why he called it mono myth. Mono is one, so mono myth, but the hero's journey. And the way that this story goes is that there is a hero who will go on a journey. But how does the hero get to that journey? Well, there's quite a few steps before the hero even sets foot on the path. So this hero has some kind of call to adventure, a yearning, something that, gets the person looking. And then there's usually a really big denial. Like, nope, could not possibly be me. That's not the thing. Forget about it. And then there's something that gets the person to really cross the threshold and be on the journey proper. And then when that happens, guides appear the assistance that you need comes. And then, of course, there's many obstacles to overcome. The hero is in the abyss. There are dragons to slay. All of it's happening. And then the person slays the dragons, wins the prize, and returns home. But it's a special kind of return home because that hero is not the same. They return home to a deepened expression of themselves because they've now had this experience. So let's think about those parts of the journey. And one of the things when I think, what really gets that person on the path? Well, it starts with some kind of call. There is that yearning, or there's something that's like, what about that out there? Or like, I don't know why, but I just think, And what's really interesting is when that call comes, if the person isn't ready, crazy things happen. In fact, I have the perfect example of this. When I was teaching high school, I would have a student come in without fail almost every year. A student would come into my English 12 class and be like, oh, this blankety blank school is so awful and and I'm going to go to this school over there. And this school over there is going to be like this. And I'd be like, oh, that's wonderful. I hope you have a great experience. And then within a month, a student would be back in my classroom and be like, oh, precious student, what happened at that school? Oh, that blankety blank school over there, they're still murmur. And it would be the exact same litany of sins and whatnot. And I'd be like, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm like, well, precious student, the common denominator between this school and that school is you. Obviously, I said it with a great deal of love and affection. I wasn't, yeah. But in a case of physician heal thyself, I actually had to have the exact same talk with myself when I came to the end of my teaching career. So I taught high school for 23 years, and towards the end, every day I was like Shrek. It was no bueno. So I'm like, okay, I thought, well, maybe if I switch from a public school to a charter school, it will be better. And I lasted for like 2 years. And then I got from, well, maybe if I switch from high school to a middle school, it'll be better. And anyone who's a middle school teacher realizes how fatal that is. Like, that is a ridiculous statement. That's like saying, oh, we're about to get a divorce. Let's have a baby. Like, oh, God, don't do it. Don't do it. But I did it. I switched to middle school, which was ridiculous. My sense of humor is so caustic. Those poor middle school babies didn't know what hit them. So it was, yeah, so you got that. It was bad fit. And after a while, I pulled my head up and went, oh, the common denominator here is me. I had not done the inner work to have a different experience. All I did was just change my conditions and be like, it'll be better. It totally was not. Because wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. So I had to have that own conversation with myself. And that's actually when my guides appeared. And, Scott was here, who was a community member here back in the day. And he said, you've got something kind of interesting to offer. How do you feel about your job? I was like, twitch. And he offered me a new job in the nonprofit sector and helped me to make that transition. But it's interesting to consider you can't really change until you're ready. And then there could even be that whole denial period of like, no, it's not me. In fact, my favorite denial story, and to quote Mark Twain, denial ain't just a river in Egypt. My favorite denial story is Moses. I think his story is hysterically funny because God calls Moses and Moses is like, no way, God, you got the wrong person. And God's like, really? Look at this bush. I'm not messing around. You're the dude. We are going to do this. So eventually Moses gets over himself and they do the thing, right? But a lot of us have that denial moment, like, no, this can't be right. I mean, I fought tooth and nail of like, no, this can't be right. It's not me. I'm not me. No. Yeah, denial is ridiculous and important because what gets us to cross that threshold, as Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith says, you can either be pulled by the vision or you can be pushed by the pain. How uncomfortable do you have to get before you make the change? Apparently, I had to be that uncomfortable. Wow. It was ridiculously uncomfortable. And for my precious family members, and for my friends, and for my students. And wow, I was a holy terror. So I needed to be pretty uncomfortable to be able to cross the threshold. But now, okay, now on the journey proper, all of a sudden the guides appear. So think about in your own life, who have been different people that were your key guides. And I bet a lot of them, at least for me, I was like, where did this person come from? Like out of the woodwork. Or like Joseph Campbell says, doors will appear where formerly there were no doors. Like all of a sudden things just are happening and the way is made clear. And you're like, wow, I didn't even know there was a road here. How did that happen? There will be a way where there seems to be no way, and the guide appears. I think of my husband, who was a guide in our early marriage. We were definitely each other's guides. I think we still are learning and growing. My children are definitely my Zen masters sent to kick my butt, and they're my awesome guides, and perhaps vice versa. And I think about Scott, who did help me make the transition from public school teacher to nonprofit work, or my prayer partner, Toby. We were prayer partners for 7 years until he passed almost a year ago. Tomorrow will be a year. Wow. Amazing guide in my life. Reverend Martha, amazing guide in my life all throughout ministerial school and my time here. So the guides appear. Can we pay attention to what our guides are saying? And then think about the obstacles that you have overcome. Each time you've gone on a journey, there's probably been a series of episodes where you have overcome obstacles or slayed the dragons. I know I've had some whoppers. And dang if they don't keep coming back. I'm like, you again? I thought we were done with this. But man, slaying the codependency dragon, woo-hoo-hoo, that one's got a lot of layers to it. And the gender roles, ay de mi. There's some massive ones in there. And then even just the different crises in the last, for those of you who have been with me for, the last 5 years, good Lord, the medical crisis, the marital crisis, the work crisis, the financial crisis, whee! But coming out the other side of all of those, wow. Okay, slaying the dragons. And what's the prize that you won from overcoming the obstacles and slaying the dragons? Like, what did you learn? What was the takeaway? What was the prize? It's not the Holy Grail. You are the prize. You are the treasure. In fact, here's a beautiful way that someone put it. There is a certain kind of light that only comes from having been through a certain kind of darkness. Or another way to put it, one day, the mountain that is in front of you will be so far behind you, it will barely be visible in the distance. But the person you get to become in learning to get over it, that will stay with you forever. And that is the point of the mountain. So really, like in the Old Testament, we are gold that is tested in fire. It burns away the impurities. It is purifying. It helps us to get perspective. What matters? What doesn't matter? What are we here to learn, grow, be? Who are we called to be? So we become stronger and more beautiful than ever before. And so we make that journey over and over again in deepening concentric circles. And at the same time, if we can go into paradox, it's also these expansive, ever broadening circles, which is kind of an exciting concept. Because it's just like the relationship cycle, if you've ever studied the relationship cycle, that you start with the honeymoon, like, oh, this is so wonderful, I'm going to do the thing, and we're going to be together, and it's fantastic. And then one little thing gets hard, and you're like, this is terrible. Why am I doing this? I hate this. And the trick is, if you don't pack up your toys and go home, if you don't split, if you could figure it out, sit with it a bit, try to understand, then you get to that glorious spot of insight. Oh, I understand that now about myself, about my partner, or about my workplace, whatever it is that you're in a relationship with. And then you get into this awesome place of working. We have a working relationship. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's where like wild progress gets made and huge things happen. And then you get into another honeymoon. And then guess what? Yeah, we're going to keep doing that. It's just a different version of the hero's journey. All over again, the deepening concentric circles to get to the ultimate treasure, which is your full expression, your light shining, your tankful brilliance. All of your life has led up to this moment, radiance, that you're this amazing disco ball of experience, just all being put together to shine forth to the world. So really the question is, could you be brave enough to take the next journey, whatever that is for you, and to discover even more of your mighty self? It really makes me think of the prodigal son. I am so Bible today. I don't know why that's happening, but it is. So for those of you, here's the Reverend Kamatara version of the prodigal son. So remember that there's a father, he's got the farm, he's kind of wealthy, he's got the 2 kids, and they're adulty kids. And the oldest son is the dutiful son, stays home and, doing all the things. The responsible one is working the farm, doing the thing. And the youngest son is like, Dad, I want my inheritance now. Dad's like, okay, if that's what you want, and gives the child all the money. Kiddo goes out and playboy of the Western world, and has fun and blows it all. And of course, he needed to have that experience. And he comes home. He returns home. And he says to his father, I'm so sorry. I could just go live in the barn. I'll just eat whatever you're feeding the animals. No big. Could I just have a little place to be? And of course, the father throws his arms open and just loves him up and is so rejoicing that his son has returned. And of course, oldest son is like, what? You are kidding me. I have been here all the time. And the father says, I know, and that's fantastic. Thank you. And this child was lost and now is found. He has come back home to himself. He had to go on that journey and have that experience on that dark night of the soul and slay those dragons and do the thing, or he could not have gotten to this place. And of course, in the story, the Father is God, or the divine, the beloved. And every time that you go on the journey and do the thing and come back home to yourself, the beloved rejoices and says, welcome home, my precious child. Yes, that is fantastic. The world rejoices when you come back home to yourself, because you really are the treasure. And that journey that's happening, it's within and without. You don't even have to go anywhere to be having this journey, and you're on it, whether you are aware of it or not. It's happening. So this week, a few things for you to consider. Maybe you might take it to contemplation and prayer. Are you the hero of your own journey right now? And could you recognize, with whatever's happening in your life right now, where are you on the journey? Because then you could ask the questions like, okay, am I feeling a call to adventure? Do I have a yearning, a calling, like is something coming up for me? Okay, that would be great. Then that's what you might need to contemplate. Or am I in denial? That's an interesting place to be. Okay. Or am I really uncomfortable? Am I ready to cross the threshold? Who are my guides? Could I pay attention to them? What are my obstacles? What are my dragons? Have I seen these dragons before? There's some important things to think through. Where am I? And what's the prize? What am I winning here? What am I going to hold on to as the treasure that's now a part of me? And above all, be brave. To quote Goethe, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid so you can do your thing. And please return home because you really are the treasure the world has been waiting for. Bon voyage. Have a good trip. All right, let's go into prayer. All right, in this moment, in this place, it is so easy to recognize that presence of the one living source, of the all that is, this thing that I choose to call God. And I know that this divine essence, this something sacred going on, is showing up as each person here present and in all the people who cross our paths, and even beyond what we can understand. It is the divine. And that each one of us is that love in action of the divine. Each one of us is the hero of our own journey. Each one of us has an epic story, an amazing story. Each one of us has our own guides, our own dragons to slay, our own obstacles to overcome, and our own special treasure that only we can bring to the world. And so I claim for each one of us the discernment to recognize where we are and the courage to go on the journey and to learn and grow and deepen into a fuller, more expansive expression of self, to let that light shine even more brilliantly than before. And so I'm grateful for the way each one of us shows up in the world. I'm so grateful that we get to share this journey with each other, that we might be each other's guides and spiritual wayfarers and companions on this crazy journey. I'm so grateful for the way that our experience outpictures in the world how the divine gets to show up in all its messy goodness. And I'm so grateful for the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living that is my spiritual home, and for each person who helps it to feel like home, and for all that we get to do together in this precious experience called life. I am so grateful, and I know that each one of us is truly blessed. And so knowing that all is in divine right order, regardless of seeming appearance, it is all laying out perfectly for each person. I let this prayer go and let it be, knowing that all is well, and so it is. Amen. Well, now it is time for us to share our abundance. So whether you're joining us online or in person, there are multiple ways that you could give. There's a scroll that's going to happen across the bottom of the screen in just a moment here. You could text the word give. Es muy fácil. It is very easy to do. Or some of you give electronically on a regular basis. Thank you so much for doing that. That's a great thing to set up. You could go to the website and click donate. For those of you in the house, you could come up to the baskets here during our song and share your goodness right in there. And we appreciate all the time, the talent, and the treasure that y'all share with here from the depths of your abundance. So we are going to say our giving affirmation together. Excellent. I am abundant, and I give from my abundance. I am prosperous, and I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings of spirit are as abundant as the stars, and so I give and receive generously, and so it is. And now it's time for some special music from our wonderful friend Jean.
I love coming here on Sundays. It's not every Sunday because other places I need to go to too and have them fill me up so that I can carry on through the week. Feel like a candle in a hurricane, just like a picture with a broken frame. Alone and helpless, like you've lost your fight, but you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright. 'Cause when push comes to shove, you taste what you're made of. You might bend till you break, 'cause it's all you can take. On your knees, you look up, decide you had enough. You get mad, you get strong, wipe your head, shake it off, and you stand. And you stand. Life's like a novel with the end ripped out, the edge of a canyon with only one way down. Take what you're given before it's gone and start holding on. Keep holding on. 'Cause when push comes to shove, you taste what you're made of. You might bend till you break, 'cause it's all you can take. On your knees, you look up, decide you've had enough. You get mad, you get strong, wipe your head, shake it off, and you stand. And you stand. Every time you get up and get back in the race, one more small piece of you starts to fall into place. And you stand. And you stand. And you stand.
Another perfect song. I love that. Wow. Good stuff. See, that's how Spirit just forms the service. It all comes together. All right. Well, please help me to bless these offerings. So thank you, sweet Spirit, for these and all your gifts. We are grateful for the provision, for all of our ministry needs and more. We are thankful for the infinite abundance in the universe, for our good health, for our friends, our family, our homes, and especially for this opportunity to express our love and appreciation to each other as we share the journey in this beautiful spiritual community. And so, in this moment of gratitude, we allow ourselves to appreciate the abundance and prosperity that comes to our center. Each gift and giver are truly blessed and valued. And we now declare that each person's peacefulness, joy, and abundance is increased 1,000-fold. So please join me in anchoring this prayer with, and so it is. All right. The magical unicorn of goodness is holding that. It's perfect. All right. So while we're speaking of wonderful prayers, if any of you are in need of a prayer in good times and in bad, in sickness and health and all the things, right? We have practitioners who are ready, able, and willing to offer you a mini prayer for whatever you would like to either continue or shift or whatever it is. You can go over to the prayer garden over there after service, and we can do some very powerful prayers. For those of you online, or if it happens throughout the week that you go, oh, I need a prayer, you can go online to rgcsl.org and click on the prayer requests, and it gets shipped out to all the practitioners. Or if you just want to write a prayer request down, because you're in the room, there are prayer request slips. I'm pretty sure, are they in the back seats? Yeah, in some of the back seats. If you don't see one in the back of the seat, you could go back to the prayer box where Carmela is standing there. It looks like a little treasure box, and you can write your prayer request. And those also go out to our practitioners because we love to hold you in prayer. All right. Well, we're gearing up for the end of our service here, so I'm going to take team with Carol.
Let me turn the right page here. Well, What a joy it's been to celebrate with you today. Thank you for letting me be one with you, and you be one with me, and we're one with each other. And that's a beautiful place to be. It really is a beautiful place to be. And you'll never feel alone if you remember that. You're not alone, ever. Well, what a joy it has been. And when we get through here today, there's going to be who knows what's in that in the social hall. It's always good. It always smells good. It always makes you all leave happy and not have to cook when you get home. So, see, life is really good here. But please, after our benediction and our closing song, join us in the social hall. All right. So right now, thank you, God, for the oneness. Thank you for this service. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the message. Thank you. Thank you that I can leave here and put on my Wonder Woman. Thank you that you can leave here, put on your superhero. Let's pull out our special talents, our special gifts. Let them go play and find out they're not playing. It's our lives. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, each one, that the God of you is me, as me, for me, and through me, that the God of me is you, as you, for you, and through you, and that the God of we is each of us, all of us, as us, forever unfolding in perfection. And so it is. Now let's have, there's too many lines. Okay, we need our guest speaker who's back, and our regular again, Norm Dawson, is going to come give you some announcements. Followed by the closing song.
Thank you, Carol. We'll have you guys go first.
Hey, I'm Tim Neuenschwander, and this
I'm
is
Michael.
Michael.
Hi, beautiful people.
Yes. And if you didn't know, we've begun our reach out for this season, and that is the event for Michelle's Giving Tree.
Yeah.
Oh, this year we're supporting the families from the Mountain Mahogany Chapter School.
Charter school. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
All right. This is how Michelle's Giving Tree works. Take a tag. There's a tree in the social hall. If you go, grab one of the ornaments, tags off the tree. And each tag has the name of the recipient, the age, and what they'd like for a gift. So a wish list. When you take a tag, please make sure the tag will have a number on it, and you'll sign on the sign up list next to the number of the corresponding number. Yeah.
So, and do not take the tag without signing up. That's important.
Yeah.
If you want to tag and aren't able to come to the center to sign up, people online, especially for you, this is for you. Contact Mark Ayers, and we'll be able to pick up a tag for you. His number, get a pencil,
From Mark Ayers.
505 804 4251.
You can also make a monetary donation to the center, and we will do the shopping for you. Again, you can contact Mark Ayers and let him know your donation is for Michelle's Giving Tree. I did also want to say that I just looked at the list before the service, and there's over 60 spots still empty. So please, if you've already signed up, maybe consider doing one or two more. For those of you who haven't had an opportunity yet, please, there's plenty of spaces to fill. And if you might consider doing it before you go get your food so that you don't get, brain fog, food coma, and walk out without doing it. Okay, so maybe do it before. And Tim and I will be in the back to help with the sign up.
And so, okay, so the names and the gifts number need to be returned before Sunday, December 11th. The newsletter said Sunday, December 12th. There's no Sunday, December 12th. So Let's try the 11th. That's in 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to pick up the gifts today and next week. Don't put it off.
Right. And we strongly encourage you to do your shopping early, especially if you're going to do it online, so that it is back in time to have it to drop it off by the due date. And Michelle's Giving Tree is really a wonderful way to give this holiday season. And everybody thanks you for your participation in this meaningful project. So
Yahoo!
Thank you.
Woo.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim and Mike, for doing this. And Barbara and I are going to sign up as soon as we finish the service here. Hey, it's good to be back. Good morning. Wow, it's been a month of Sundays since we've been here. On October 27th was the last time I was here. And we went to Florida for a business vacation trip and got to see the Cape Kennedy Space Center and Disney World and all that. As soon as we got back, I got COVID. Bam, boom. I was out for a week. And then Barbara got it a week later. So we just didn't come to service for those reasons. So it's good to be back. I missed you. Hope you missed me. Thanks. And Reverend Kamatara, boy, I just love your messages. You had lots of great chunks of information in there, and you pulled it all together, and it was just really good to hear that. I especially liked the Denial River in Egypt. I'm going to have to use that for my speeches, too. Thank you so much. And Gene, I just loved your beginning song there about being home and the crooked moon and the cracked sky. I'm going to use that in one of my speeches, too.
That's a Tom Waits song.
It is. By the way, did you make up that song, or is that something you...
No, Tom Waits.
Okay, all right, good. Got it. Super. Okay, we stand with Ukraine for independence, peace, love, and abundance. It's going to be a rough winter for them this year. So anything you can do, they will certainly appreciate it, and so will we. Okay, every year the CSL has a conference. This year the conference it's called the CSL Vista Conference. It's an annual conference where all the CSL centers get together. And, oh, good, you got that up there. And it's an annual convention. It's going to be hybrid this year. I went to this many years ago, 10 or 15, 20 years ago. Took my oldest daughter with me to Chicago when it was live. What an experience it was for me. So I'm glad I went. But anyway, this year it's going to be hybrid. There'll be talks, breakout sessions, and other activities. Now, don't go online and register right off the bat. Go to Carol or Marilyn Kirk, and she'll get you a group discount. So you go from $149 to $40. So all that information is in the newsletter, but be sure you talk to Marilyn Kirk if you want to go. It's to get that group discount. Next December, which is going to be my birthday, by the way, next December 4th, a little advance notice here. Reverend Gill is going to be doing a special visioning workshop on spiritual development. What are the classes does this center want to have for next year? So he's going to be doing that here right after the service at 11:30 on December 4th, next Sunday. So be sure you put that into your calendar so you can help in that process of figuring out what classes we're going to have. Oh, I'll talk to you afterwards. I have a list.
That was a good out.
Okay. The Compassion Ministries has a theme every week. Carmela, she does a great job with this. This week is What is the New Mexico Home Fund? That is a state-administered fund from the feds. So the feds give it to New Mexico, and New Mexico then administers it so that people who are renting or owning a home who else does? Well, just about everybody rents or owns a home except for the homeless. Yeah, anyway, this is for people who are having problems with their rent or their mortgage or utility bills because of COVID for some reason. So if you need some extra help, get a hold of the link in the newsletter, and it's for expenses that either in the past, the present, or the future, and you don't have to repay it. So if you need some help with your rent or mortgage because of COVID, look at the link on the newsletter and take advantage of it. Recurring events. There's the Course in Miracles every Thursday, Zoom or in person from 6 to 7:30 here by Nancy Bauer. She administers that. The Board of Trustees meets every third Sunday on Zoom. So if you like to go to those, or you don't like to go, but be sure you check that out. And then we have the Food Addicts in Recovery. It's anonymous. Food Addicts in Recovery, anonymous, in person on Zoom, Saturdays from 8:30 to 10. It looks like it's in person right here at the center. Oh, good. Got all that up there. And that's it, live from New Mexico, Sunday morning announcements.
Yay. It's always good to see all of you. And special friend showed up today. God, it's good to see you. I miss your company, even if it was once a month elsewhere. I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.